Struggling rancher bought a girl labeled too wild for man, unaware she was born to ride beside him. He didn't mean to buy her. Not really. But the auctioneer's voice cracked like a whip over the dusty square, and Silas Granger's fingers twitched toward his last silver coin, not for love, not for lust, but for the hollow ache in his belly and the silence in his barn. He needed hands. Any hands. Even hers. She stood on the wooden block barefoot, wrists bound with frayed rope, eyes the color of storm clouds over dry land. No one else bid. Not after they called her unbreakable. Not after the sheriff muttered she'd kicked out 2 teeth from a man who tried to mount her in the wagon. Not after the preacher crossed himself and turned away. Silas paid $12. $12 for a girl who didn't flinch when the gavel fell. $12 for the way she looked at him, not with fear, not with gratitude, but with something colder. Something that said she already knew how this would end. The crowd parted like dry brush before fire as he led her away. Boots scuffed dirt. A dog barked once, then fell silent. Somewhere, a saloon piano clanged out a sour tune. She didn't speak. Didn't stumble. Just walked beside him like she'd been waiting for this road all her life. Her name was Cora Vale. And she was trouble with a pulse. The ranch was dying. Not slow. Not gentle. The kind of death that leaves bones bleached under sun and crows picking at the last scraps. Fences sagged like broken spines. The well coughed dust instead of water. And the cattle? Gone. Sold. Eaten. Buried. Silas hadn't slept in 3 weeks without dreaming of his father's voice, "This land's in your blood, boy," while rats gnawed through the floorboards beneath him. He gave Cora the loft above the stable. Straw for a bed. A tin cup. A knife, sharp, clean, left on the post like a test. She didn't thank him. Didn't smile. Just climbed the ladder without a sound, boots whispering against wood, and vanished into shadow. That night, Silas sat by the fire pit, chewing jerky so tough it made his jaw ache. The stars were sharp as glass above him. No moon. No wind. Just the crackle of flame and the distant cry of a coyote, lonely, hungry, wild. He heard her before he saw her. Soft steps. Bare feet on dirt. Then she was there, crouched by the fire, arms wrapped around her knees, staring into the embers like they held answers. "You gonna run?" he asked. She didn't look at him. "Where to?" "Anywhere's better than here." "Not if you're hungry." He tossed her a strip of jerky. She caught it without flinching. Chewed slow. Swallowed hard. "You ever ride?" he asked. "Since I could walk." "You ever break a horse?" "I broke the man who tried to break me." Silas didn't laugh. Didn't smile. Just nodded. Like he understood. Like he'd expected nothing less. The fire popped. Sparks flew upward, swallowed by darkness. Somewhere out there, a horse whinnied. And Silas knew, this girl wasn't just hired help. She was the reckoning he'd been waiting for. Morning came with dust in the throat and sweat on the brow. Cora was already in the corral before sunup, bareback on a buckskin mare Silas hadn't dared touch in months. The horse danced sideways, nostrils flaring, hooves kicking up clods of hard earth. Cora rode with no saddle, no bridle, just her thighs gripping tight and her hands low on the mare's neck, whispering words too soft to hear. Silas watched from the porch, coffee bitter on his tongue. She didn't fight the horse. Didn't force it. Just moved with it, hips rolling, shoulders loose, eyes half closed like she was listening to a song only she could hear. By noon, the mare was walking circles around her, nuzzling her shoulder like a lover. By dusk, Cora had it pulling a plow. Silas didn't say a word. Just handed her a plate of beans and cornbread. Sat beside her on the porch step, Watched the sun bleed into the horizon. You ever been married? She asked suddenly. He choked on his coffee. No, why not? Didn't have time. Didn't have land worth sharing. Didn't have peace. She nodded. Like that made sense. Like peace was a luxury only fools chased. You? He asked. My first husband sold me to pay a poker debt. Silas went still. First. She smiled then, small, sharp, gone in a blink. Second one tried to tie me to the bedpost. Broke his nose with a skillet. Silas almost laughed. Almost. Instead, he said, you ain't gonna break me, Cora. She looked at him then. Really looked. Eyes catching the last of the firelight. Ain't gotta break you, Silas. Just gotta ride beside you. The wind picked up then. Carried the scent of sage and smoke. Far off, a train whistle moaned through the valley. And for the first time in years, Silas felt something stir in his chest. Not hope. Not yet. But the ghost of it. 3 weeks passed. The fields greened. The well coughed up water, sweet, cold, life-giving. The mare pulled the plow like she was born to it. Cora slept in the loft, rose before dawn, worked till stars pinned the sky. She didn't ask for pay. Didn't ask for praise. Just asked for a horse of her own. Silas gave her the roan gelding, mean-tempered, half-blind, useless to anyone else. She named him Ghost. Rode him bareback into the hills every evening, returning with rabbits, herbs, sometimes silence heavy as stone. Silas didn't ask where she went. Didn't ask why she sometimes came back with dirt under her nails and blood on her sleeve. He knew better. Some silences were meant to be kept. Some wounds, better left unopened. Then came the riders. 5 of them. Dust-coated, sun-scorched, eyes sharp as rifle barrels. Led by a man in a black duster with silver spurs that chimed like church bells when he walked. His name was Elias Crow. And he owned half the county. The other half. He was taking it. He dismounted slow, deliberate, thumbs hooked in his belt like he owned the air Silas breathed. His hat shadowed his face, but his smile. That was clear. Cold. Curved like a knife. Silas Granger, he drawled. Heard you been workin' miracles. Silas spat tobacco. Just dirt and sweat. Crow's eyes slid to the corral, to Cora, brushing Ghost's mane, her back turned like she didn't care who rode in. Miracles got a name, don't it? Crow murmured. Silas stepped forward. She works for me. Crow chuckled. Low. Wet. Like something dying in a ditch. Funny. I sold her to you. Silas froze. Cora didn't turn. Didn't move. Just kept brushing. Slow. Steady. Like she was counting heartbeats. You, what? Silas whispered. Crow tipped his hat. Auction block, Silas. $12. Bought and paid for. By me. Then I let you have her. Consider it, an investment. Silas's hands curled into fists. You set me up. Nah. I gave you a gift. Girl like that? She's worth 10 men. And she's loyal, when you remind her who holds the leash. Cora finally turned. Met Crow's gaze. And smiled. Not the small one. Not the sharp one. This one was feral. Hungry. Promising pain. You don't hold my leash, Crow, she said. You never did. Crow's smile didn't fade. Just hardened. We'll see about that. He mounted up. Spurs chimed. Dust rose like a curse. "We'll be back," he called over his shoulder. "With papers. And chains." The riders vanished into the heat haze. Leaving silence. Leaving fear. Leaving Cora staring at Silas like she was waiting to see what kind of man he really was. That night, Silas didn't sleep. Paced the porch. Packed his rifle. Checked his Colt. Drank whiskey straight from the bottle till his vision blurred and his thoughts burned. Cora found him at dawn, slumped in a chair, bottle empty, eyes red. She didn't speak. Just sat beside him. Close. Not touching. But close enough that he could smell sage in her hair and gun oil on her hands. "He's coming back," Silas muttered. "I know. You lied to me." "I didn't lie. You never asked." He turned to her then. Voice raw. "Were you his? Before?" "Yeah. After I killed my second husband, Crow found me in jail. Said he'd spring me, for a price." Silas swallowed. "And the price?" "Me. In his bed. On his land. Under his thumb." Silas looked away. "You could have told me." "And what? You'd have sent me packing. Let me starve. Let me rot." He didn't answer. Didn't need to. She stood. Stretched. Sunlight caught the scar on her collarbone, thin, white, old. "I ain't his," she said. "Not anymore. But he don't know that yet." Silas stood too. "What are you gonna do?" She looked toward the hills. Toward where Ghost waited, reins loose, ears pricked. "Same thing I always do," she said. "Ride. Fight. Survive." Then she looked back at him. Eyes soft. "Just for a second. You comin' with me?" The wind howled through the hollows. And Silas made his choice. They rode at noon. No plan. No map. Just Ghost, the buckskin mare, and the open range ahead. Cora led. Silas followed. They didn't talk. Didn't need to. The land stretched before them, cracked earth, twisted mesquite, sky so blue it hurt to look at. By sundown, they reached the ridge overlooking Crow's Spread. Big house. Stone walls. Iron gates. Men patrolling with rifles. Cora dismounted. Silas did the same. She pulled a rolled map from her saddlebag. Spread it on a flat rock. "Crow moves his gold every full moon," she whispered. "Takes it to the bank in Redwater. Leaves at dawn. 6 men. 2 wagons." Silas stared. "You been planning this. Since the day he sold me. You're gonna rob him. I'm gonna ruin him." Silas exhaled. Long, slow. "And then?" She met his eyes. "Then we disappear. You and me. West. Where the land don't care who you were. Only who you are." Silas didn't answer. Didn't need to. He kissed her. Hard. Desperate. Like it might be the last thing he ever did. She kissed back. Fierce. Hungry. Like she'd been waiting for this since birth. The wind died. The world held its breath. And somewhere far off, a church bell tolled. They struck at dawn. Ambush at Coyote Pass. Cora took the high ground. Silas the low. Gun smoke curled like ghosts between the rocks. First shot took the lead rider clean through the throat. Second shot shattered a wagon wheel. Third. That was Silas's, wild, panicked, missed. Cora didn't miss. 4 shots. 4 men. Dropped like sacks of grain. Crow's men scattered. Screamed. Fired blind. Cora moved like shadow and smoke, reloading, ducking, firing again. Silas. He froze. Not from fear. From recognition. One of the men, young, freckled, barely more than a boy, was the son of his father's old foreman. A kid he'd taught to ride. To rope. To laugh. Now the boy lay bleeding in the dirt, clutching his gut, eyes wide with terror. Silas ran to him. Dropped to his knees. Silas, the boy gasped. Why? I'm sorry, Silas whispered. God, I'm sorry. The boy's hand grabbed his shirt. Don't, let her, kill him, then he died. Cora appeared beside him. Covered in dust and powder burns. Eyes wild. Alive. We gotta go, she hissed. Now. Silas looked at the boy. At his hands. At the blood. What we done, he whispered. Cora yanked him up. What we had to. They fled. Left the gold. Left the wagons. Left the dead. Rode till their horses foamed and the sun burned their backs raw. They didn't speak for 2 days. Just rode. Ate jerky. Slept back to back under stars that offered no mercy. On the third night, camped in a dry creek bed, Cora finally spoke. You gonna blame me? She asked. Silas stared into the fire. I blame Crow. He made you pull the trigger. No. I chose to. I chose this. Chose you. She didn't answer. Just leaned her head against his shoulder. For the first time, she felt small. Fragile. Human. Silas wrapped an arm around her. And for a moment, just a moment, the world felt still. Then Ghost whinnied. Ears pricked. Head high. Cora was on her feet in a heartbeat. Rifle in hand. Silas grabbed his. Too late. Hooves thundered over the ridge. Torches flared. Crow's voice boomed through the dark. Come out, little birds. Time to settle accounts. Cora cursed. He tracked us. Silas chambered around. How? She looked at him. Eyes haunted. The boy, he had a locket. His ma's picture. I took it. Thought it was gold. Silas went cold. You left a trail. I left a trail, she whispered. Crow's laugh echoed through the canyon. You always were sentimental, Cora. That's why you'll never be free. Gunfire erupted. Bullets chewed the rocks around them. Cora fired back. Fast. Accurate. Silas. He aimed. Fired. Missed. Again. Again. Crow's men closed in. 5. Then 3. Then 1. Cora took the last with a shot between the eyes. Silence fell. Heavy. Thick. Smelling of blood and burnt powder. Then Crow stepped into the firelight. Alone. No gun. Hands raised. Smiling. Cora, he said. You always were the better shot. She didn't lower her rifle. What do you want, Crow? You. Him. Alive. I'll let you walk. Swear on my mother's grave. Silas snorted. You killed your mother. Crow's smile didn't waver. Then I swear on the devil's own Bible. Cora's finger hovered over the trigger. Silas touched her arm. Don't. She looked at him. He'll kill us. Not if we run. Crow chuckled. Run where, Silas? You think I ain't got men on every trail? Every river? Every damn ridge between here and California? He took a step closer. Give me the girl. Walk away. Live. Silas shook his head. We ride together. Or we die together. Crow sighed. Like a disappointed father. Then die you will. He moved fast. Drew a derringer from his sleeve. Fired. Cora shoved Silas aside. The bullet took her high in the chest. She staggered. Fell. Silas roared. Fired. Missed. Crow fired again. This time, Silas didn't miss. The bullet punched through Crow's throat. The man dropped. Gurgling. Choking. Eyes wide with surprise. Silas didn't watch him die. Ran to Cora. She lay on her back, blood soaking her shirt, breath bubbling. Stupid, she whispered. Shoulda, let him, take me. Silas cradled her head. No. Never. She smiled. Weak. Fading. Told you. I was, trouble. Best kind, he choked. She reached up. Touched his face. Ride, west. Silas. Find, peace. Her hand fell. Her breath stopped. Her eyes stayed open. Staring at the stars. Silas didn't cry. Didn't scream. Just held her. Till the coyotes howled. Till the fire died. Till the sky turned gray. He buried her at dawn. No coffin. No preacher. Just a shallow grave under a lone juniper. He placed the locket on her chest. The one she'd taken from the boy. Let the dead keep their dead. He mounted Ghost. Rode west. Didn't look back. 3 months later, they say a man rode into Santa Cruz with eyes like storm clouds and a roan gelding that limped but never quit. They say he bought a small plot of land near the sea. Built a cabin. Planted corn. Kept to himself. But every evening, at sunset, he'd sit on his porch. Pour 2 cups of coffee. Set one beside him. And stare at the horizon. Like he was waiting. Like he was listening. Like somewhere out there, beneath endless sky and whispering wind, a girl with wild eyes and a quiet heart was still riding beside him. They say if you listen real close on still nights, you can hear her. Hooves on hard earth. Laughter on the breeze. A whisper in the sage. Born to ride. Born to fight. Born to love a broken man. And never, not once, regret it. Even in death. Especially in death. The wind still howls through those hills. The coyotes still sing. And sometimes, just sometimes, a lone rider pauses at the ridge. Tips his hat. And rides on. Alone. But never lonely. Not really. Not ever. What would you have done? Let her go? Or died beside her? Comment below. The West remembers. Even when we don't.